This meeting of the Eau Claire City Council will come to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Anderson. Berge.
Here.
Brewster.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Imboga.
Yeah.
Miller.
Here.
Otto.
Here.
Reed.
Here.
Schoen.
Here.
Serrano.
Here.
Workman.
Here.
Great. Gonna find a pen here. So welcome everyone to the Monday, April 21st meeting of the Eau Claire City Council. How tonight's meeting will work, in case you're here for the first time, staff will present on an item, and then council will have an opportunity to ask questions, and then we'll open it up for public comment period. I will prioritize the people who have signed up in the back, and then I'll open up the council chambers. So if you're here to speak, please sign up, but I will give other people an opportunity. If you don't, you will have, 4 minutes to speak at the podium for what's on the agenda. You can speak one time. And then if you don't feel comfortable speaking in front of council, there are blue cards in the back that you can fill out. And then you can also email us as well. So we do have separate instructions for the public comment period, but I'll go over that at the end of the meeting. So with that, we'll move on to our first agenda item, which is on zoning. So this is a public hearing on an ordinance to rezone property from TR1A to C3 along Old Town Hall Road, and we have Director White here. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Council President Berge and council members. What we have before you is the rezoning for this property. This was a roughly 10-acre site that was annexed in 2017. The TR1A, that temporary one-family residential non-sewered zoning is essentially kind of a placeholder until the final use of a property is selected by the developer. They didn't have a use at the time, so it has carried over until now. The property is adjacent to the Fleet Farms building along Old Town Hall Road, just south of I-94. It's highlighted in the yellow, as you see right there. The space is expected to be a mixed-use development of commercial space, which is why they're seeking the C3 zoning this evening. This is consistent with the comp plan and consistent with the land use development plans for that area. The parcel, the gray area shows the 300 feet boundary of where notifications are presented, and this shows current zoning, which identifies again C3 planned C3 zoning and the neighboring parcels. This is an estimate of what they're looking to do. This is not like a final site plan of any type. This simply gives a feel of the space that they're looking to build into it. So the space will front on Old Town Hall Road with a mix of potential office space and other flex users, anticipating maybe more storage space in the back. You often see that with facilities that have retail in the front and need storage space in the back. Potentially any type of C3 user that, again, has a mixture of office and storage space. The back areas would have loading docks available for each of the lease space. Tentatively, they're thinking the space would have about 3 leasable segments within it. Again, they would have to go through the formal site approval process, site plan submission. This is just a representation of what could potentially fit into that space. What we are talking about tonight is just the rezoning. The developer is also anticipating varied textures and paint to create visually appealing facility, particularly on the frontage that fronts I-94. The structure is expected to be 30-foot tall sidewalls. Again, each lease space will have commercial entry in the front and warehouse or docking space in the rear of the property. The land or the Plan Commission had determined that this does meet all the applicable comp use plan and space use plans, and did vote to support or recommend approval of this project to council. At this point in time, I would be happy to answer any questions.
Great. Thank you, Director White. Any questions? Councilmember Brewster?
Thank you, Council President.
So this is more of a broad question about this area. I notice as things are getting built up there, there's, unless I'm wrong as to where that is, which I very well might be, but the question still stands. Is there like a plan, a long-run plan that we have in place for like how many, road connections and whatever are into that? And I just realized now, looking at it, that that's I-94 on the top and not 93. So that makes a difference to my question, but not a huge one. Because there's still development happening out that way, but not specific to this.
Correct. So the access to the space would have to obviously be reviewed as they do expected traffic counts. Engineering will take a look at that and determine at the time if there's need for traffic impact analysis and how they would be required to ingress and egress the site, looking at location, replacement of driveways, et cetera. The areas around are fairly well developed to the north and east, and again, this is on the fringe of the community. We are looking at spaces that are not, directly adjacent or not within city limits. So those spaces obviously would not have bearing on this project or come into account where we look for road movement or traffic pedestrian movement.
Okay.
Certainly.
Councilmember Schoen?
Thank you, Council President Berge, and thank you, Director White. I just have a question about the proposed zoning that the applicant is asking to be rezoned to, the C3 community commercial. I don't recall a time that while I've been council, have rezoned to this particular zoning type. And so you mentioned a couple times during your presentation, like use the word mixed. And so could you just clarify a little bit more what this specific zoning type is, what types of uses would be allowed? When you say mixed, I presume you mean just mixed office and commercial. It sounds like not any other type of land use.
Correct. We are talking strictly commercial use. This would not include any type of residential or whatnot. Uses could be a retail space. It could be a mix of retail and even some limited warehouse or storage space. You'll see those spaces around. Could be even some type of rec activities. You're talking about a building that could be used for anything in one of those spaces. We've seen fitness centers up in this area. Any type of uses like that could be appropriate within the commercial district. Again, it would be no residential in this.
Thank you.
Councilmember Miller?
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Director White. Two questions. One, the notification. So backing up, the southern border, is that the edge of the city limits of this
Correct.
parcel? And then when the notifications go out, do they also go out to anybody not in the city limits, like Town of Washington plots there? Do they get a notification about this as well?
Excellent question. The notification goes to the township, to their town hall.
Okay.
And then they would disseminate that out to appropriate town hall member or township members or
Okay.
residents.
And just out of curiosity, so we are still operating under our current planning zoning codes, C3. What would be the best approximation of this if you're familiar with all the different codes of the Century Code update, what would that fit into under the new zoning?
So this obviously would fit in one of the commercial segment types. What we have been prepping with the project is to keep in mind that building type and what's going in there would definitely be more of a mix. One of the proposals moving forward in the draft shows that a reduction of the ability to do strictly warehousing within commercial spaces. So the idea then that this includes office space and that type of flex use is part of the reason they're looking at doing that as part of this. So it's intended to kind of conform to the spirit of the draft as it's proposed.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Good questions. I don't see any more. So thank you, Director White.
Thank you.
And are people signed up to speak on this? No? You said no? Right, okay. All right. So then, let me open up to council chambers. Anyone like to speak on this first item, the zoning item? Okay. Not seeing anyone. All right. So then we'll go on to item number 2, site plan approval. This is a public hearing on a resolution approving the site plan in a P public district for a cell tower facility and other improvements located at 5530 Fairview Drive in the city of Eau Claire. We have Director White again.
Thank you again. This next project comes forward. This is at the County Expo Center. The parcel in question is highlighted in the shaded area, and again, the gray area of notification is included. The reason this comes forward is by ordinance. Any type of site plans on public land goes through city council approval as well as the county approval, even though this is on county land. The project in question is a request to do a site plan approval for a 199-foot tall cell tower on the Eau Claire County Expo Center property. This is intended to provide better wireless coverage and emergency coverage of cell phone services. And again, as I referenced, the site is on public land, so it comes before both governing bodies. The site is anticipating to make use, I'll just go there. The red star indicates the direct tower site and represents the overall usage of the space by the county. Here's an aerial photo, or a street level photograph of the space again. And then here is again, the site plan layout and the area that's identified for the tower. Let's see, I think that's a little closer screening. So the proposed tower project is a roughly 10,000 square foot lease area space and extended by a 20-foot access easement to Lorch Avenue. The short railroad access is proposed off the main access drive. They are proposing to use a 6-foot chain link fence with barbed wire on top for security of the compound. They are proposing some significant screening and enclosure to soften the look of that, in particular, making use of evergreens on the north and east sides, which are the most visible views, and their proposed landscaping as presented does conform with what we would expect from a landscaping standpoint in the site plan. The security, again, is intended to prevent access of folks trying to climb the tower or otherwise engage with the equipment that should not be engaged with by the public. The limit on tower height is 200 feet within the city, regardless of district, so their tower foot of 199 feet is within code conformance. They are presenting a design that complies with all the engineering requirements, which includes how a tower collapses in a catastrophic failure, et cetera. It meets all of the engineering requirements that are specified for this type of structure. The tower will be light blue or gray with other colors that are demonstrated to minimize visibility. And again, the Plan Commission had made recommendation of several conditions. One, they need to obtain appropriate local building permits, meet all federal requirements and approvals. Use of any floodlights shall be shielded below 90 degrees to ensure that we are not seeing the light extend beyond the absolute necessary footprint of the space. Maintain evergreen screening and replace as necessary, so that is intended to be a long-term landscaping and viable option for keeping the place a little more less impact. And follow all conditions of the conditional use permit approved by the Plan Commission on April 14th. So the Plan Commission did recommend moving this project forward with approval, assuming that all the conditions are met. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Great. Any questions for Director White? Okay. Vice President Worthman?
Thank you, Council President. Director White, I'm assuming this had gone through all of the relevant committees and boards of the County of Eau Claire before it reaches us, or how does that go for their approval?
Correct. This was brought to us by the county as a final step. I believe this is the final approval step in this process. But this was a county project that was initiated and brought to us for this stage.
Just so I'm clear, the county had already signed off on it.
Correct.
And then they came to us. Okay.
Correct.
Same question. Any other questions? Okay, I'm not seeing any, so thank you, Director White.
Thank you.
Anyone signed up for this one? No? Okay. Anyone in council chambers like to speak on the cell tower by the campground? No. Okay. All right, well, that's it for our public hearing, but we do have our public comment period, so thanks, Lane. Oh, we got lots of people. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 9 people signed up for this, so I will just go over the kind of the rules for this part, the public comment period. So this time is for those who live or own a place of business within the city of Eau Claire to speak on citywide issues. You will have 3 minutes to speak. You can only speak one time. The lights will indicate how much time you have left. When it's yellow, you have 1 minute left, and then red is please stop talking. And I will remind you to please stop talking. Please do not comment on any earlier agenda items. And then this time is not for personal complaints of city personnel, elected officials, or any person affiliated with the city. And then council members are not allowed to ask questions or comment during this time because what you'll be saying is not noticed, so we can't talk about it. And this time will last for 20 minutes, so it should be about perfect. So, all right, with that, and I'll go off the list first, and then I'll open up to council chambers for anyone else who'd like to speak. So first we have Helene. Hi, welcome. Yes, nice to see you again.
Helene Smyer, Historic Randall Park Neighborhood. Good evening. Everyone loves their neighborhood, but not everyone loves older neighborhoods struggling with aging houses, as is ours. Some folks see pockets of our neighborhood that they think are ready for tear downs. Some see pockets that have true potential for affordable housing. The zoning consultants and staff see our neighborhood as a place for infill with new 3- and 4-unit rentals, which may offer a solution to the housing crisis, but they really ignore the need for affordability and our pressing need for owner-occupied housing. We currently have 88% of rentals in our neighborhood. All three of these visions, as before, can be addressed with a friendly zoning district that is in the proposal, but not being proposed for our neighborhood. The GR, or General Residential District, allows infill, but it restricts that infill to connector roads. It relaxes the dimensional standards which allow current homeowners to more easily fix up their houses. In allowing infill in this incremental, planned fashion, nonprofit organizations can identify homes not on collector roads without needing to compete with developers who can maybe outbid them. They can house families who are in need and offer them a path to ownership if they would want this. Zoning is changeable, so if after time is allowed for reclaiming homes with good bones, as they say, and stabilizing this historic gem of a neighborhood, you can revisit zoning needs and maybe make further adjustments. This idea of allowing time was kind of floated by me by Council President Berg after a ZPAC meeting. I thought it was a good one. So, last, the GR zoning district is 100% aligned with the City Comprehensive Plan, Chapter 9, which outlines a plan for revitalizing our neighborhood that includes using nonprofits, so organizations, as a means for affordability. We urge you to see our central neighborhoods as a solution to true affordability, not just as a problem to be handled with infill. The consultants and staff do not want to assign the GR zoning to our neighborhood, but their focus is only on land use, not on neighborhood needs. I think this is your responsibility to blend the two and balance it out for us. So what we are asking is that you direct CPAC to make this zoning change. It will not be welcome, and it may not be easy, but I thank you for making the effort and for listening.
Thank you. Thanks for coming down. Thank you. All right, next we have Lauren. Hi, welcome.
Good evening. Lauren Lehrman, 719 4th Avenue. This year will mark 10 years of me being a homeowner in the Randall Park neighborhood, which is very exciting, but it also means that I've weathered 10 years of going toe-to-toe with all these different zoning things. And it's more and more stressful every single year, and I will say with the Century zoning code, it's getting really scary. My choice of my house as a 23-year-old was I wanted to own an old house with all the good bones, and it needed to be affordable for a 23-year-old teacher. That's really hard to find, but I was able to find it in Randall Park because there's a stigma of, well, that's the college neighborhood. So I weathered a lot of the college neighborhood shenanigans, and I've really grown to enjoy the neighborhood and enjoy the people who come into this neighborhood. What I don't enjoy is looking at the fact that in the future, my block could become more dense. I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. I have 2 young kids, and we love being this close to downtown, where we have a membership at the Children's Museum. We love being part of this vibrant community, but we can't handle if there were to be tear downs close to us that improve the neighborhood by adding more and more people to an already very, very dense area. When we brought up our concerns before, one of the things that we were told was that this just kind of covers everything, so there's no non-conforming properties in our neighborhood anymore. That doesn't seem like a sufficient answer for doing what we're doing. If you were to say, okay, we went to a car show this weekend, look at all those cars that don't have to meet emission standards. There's so many people who have classic cars, don't have to meet emission standards because they're classic cars. You know what? Everyone's cars should be held to that same standard, because then those cars aren't non-conforming anymore. That would raise eyebrows, right? We can't do the same thing in our neighborhood and say, well, you know what? We're just going to put 3 and 4-plexes everywhere, because it might not happen in the 3rd Ward, it might not happen in Eastside Hill, but it sure as heck's going to happen in Randall Park, and that's going to squeeze out people who want to be in Randall Park and young families like mine who want to be downtown. We can't keep living like that. It's not going to be a sustainable life for my family. The big thing, too, that we were told is, because this already exists in the neighborhood, it just is going to exist everywhere. Well, we purposely put things on the collector roads so that that density would get pulled out of the neighborhood, so that the core neighborhood could be for young families and for homeowners. If we suddenly say, okay, anyone can build a 3-plex, a 4-plex anywhere in the neighborhood, that's not going to exist anymore for us. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Okay, then Marlene. Hi, and welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Marlene Arnson, 607 West Grand Avenue in the Randall Park neighborhood. My husband was part of the drafting of the very first neighborhood plan in Eau Claire, which was for our neighborhood because they were planning to make the zoning much more dense for our neighborhood in order to allow for a lot of college housing. I didn't think that when I was 91, I was still going to have to be fighting for not a huge increase in density in my neighborhood. I can stand on my corner in the middle of the street, and I can see 15 houses that are owner occupied from that one spot. A house 1 block down the street where the 97-year-old woman who was born in that house recently moved to assisted living, sold in 6 days to a young family with 2 little children who wrote a letter asking them to consider their family because they were so excited about being able to afford a home. There were 12 viewings in 6 days at that home, and only one the realtor thought was someone looking to use it as a rental. The rest were looking for a home for a family. On Grand Avenue, close to Lauren, a retired couple recently bought a home. They had looked around. They wanted a historic home, and they loved the home that they found there like a year ago. Many of the homes in the area that were student housing are now family rental. One family about 2 blocks from me has been there renting for 2 years. A house down the street from me with 2 little children, they've been renting about 7 years. The reason they are here, we have Lakeshore School, we have affordable housing. As Lauren said, you can walk to downtown, you can walk to Water Street, you can walk to the hospital. We are bookended by 2 beautiful parks. We have a bike trail that circles our whole neighborhood. We are the best neighborhood in the city. Nobody else has the amenities that we have. And I continue to fight to maintain this as a family neighborhood. And the end result of the first plan was a compromise. We allowed the denser zoning along the perimeter, and then the less dense zoning was in the center of the area. I hope that you will look at Helene's proposal and make another compromise so that we can maintain this as a family area and affordable housing for families. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You. Okay, and then Kirk. Hello, welcome.
Hello, my name's Kirk Osmond. I live at 902 3rd Avenue. And not to say the same thing in a different way over and over again, I just wanted to say that we've worked with this city for probably over 40, 45 years with community development programs. And in all those years, the emphasis has been to improve the neighborhoods and to increase the value of the housing stock that's already there. We have been fairly successful at that. And now we see that there's a new zoning book coming in, and what we really want is that when you look at the zoning areas, that you specifically target areas in our neighborhood to comply with what we've already been working for the last 40 years. And we don't ask any more than that. But it may take a little time to draw the lines on the map for the zoning. We know that there's a pocket here, a pocket there, and you don't want it to get too spotty. But I speak for the people who are north of Grand Avenue, and sometimes people don't think of that as the Randall Park area. But we have a very nice area on 3rd Avenue that's almost all single-family houses. And we have just had like 4 new families move in on 3rd Avenue in different houses. And every time a new family moves in, they improve the house. They change the wiring or they upgrade the plumbing. So every time a house changes over to a single family, there's improvements. So please take that into consideration.
Thank you. Thanks for coming down. Okay, I think Robert or Robin? Robert Tollefson.
My handwriting gets worse by the day.
I got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for coming.
Hi, I'm Bob Tollefson. I live at 917 Oxford. Helene has referred to the collective history of our neighborhood in the Randall Park area, so I don't need to really speak much about that. But I do want to talk about how a demographic has changed in our neighborhood. We're seeing more college-specific housing being built, much, on the collateral roads that they've referred to, but some in our neighborhoods. These free up, I think, a lot of the mom and pop apartments, buildings in our area, which, have good bones, as is said, but also, a lot of need. Therefore, I think we're looking at some potential, low-cost housing that could be turned, over to, first-time homeowners, particularly families in need of, yards. I think this is a challenge that would have us look at, changing the zoning issue from NR to GR designation. I think another need is the affordable housing for people who live and work in the area, walking or biking or taking the bus to downtown certainly would address a lot of parking issues. But I think it's also, where are the affordable housing, areas? I mean, I look at our 4 neighborhoods that are, abutting downtown. When I was first on the county board, I represented the Forest Street neighborhood, which to me seemed like a very much entry-level neighborhood for people moving into the town and finding affordable housing. Maybe not the best neighborhood, but we had families. We had a lot of stuff going in that. And we had an active neighborhood association meeting that addressed many issues. The east side remains a, great place for first-time homeowners, for families. The third ward, of course, remains one of the more desirable neighborhoods in the whole city. And our Randall Park neighborhood is contingent on 3 issues: downtown and a number of big employees. I mean, we have the university, we have Mayo, and we have the courthouse. So I think that, we're looking at unique neighborhoods. Certainly one size does not fit all. I mean, I don't know how I would feel if I woke up one morning and found like a quadruplex going next door to me. The neighborhood has a pace, a feeling, and I think that each one has an ability to be appealing to many people moving into Eau Claire. So I won't babble on anymore. I think people have spoken highly of, the desirability of a density that is normal. And I urge us to look at that. Thank you.
Thanks for coming down, Bob. Okay, then we have Pat. Hello, welcome. Oh, we have handouts.
Attorney Nick, sorry, but yours is black and white. We were one short. I'm Pat Smith. I own Eau Claire Insulation. I'm also the Government Affairs Chair for the Chippewa Valley Home Builders Association. And we're here tonight to provide some clarification on some of the items discussed at the last ZPAC meeting. We have a handout that's being circulated that has some more details and information and may be helpful as we talk tonight. There are a couple other people that are going to speak following me, so I'm kind of the introductory kickoff to this. We appreciate the hard work everyone involved in creating the new zoning code has put in. There are some great additions to the code that will improve the development process and help reduce housing costs, such as smaller lot sizes, reduced setbacks, revised zoning districts which allow for more housing types, and more administrative approvals and adjustments. However, with all these great additions to the code, the Chippewa Valley Home Builders Association is concerned about a number of proposed additions to the zoning code that could have a negative impact on affordability. We understand that some additional regulations are needed, but very small additional expense can have a big impact on the affordability. For example, the National Association of Home Builders has developed a priced out estimator for 2025, which takes in the median income of the area. And the results for Eau Claire show that for every $1,000 increase to the price of a home, 31 households can no longer afford that home. So that can be a significant number. This shows how much a small impact can have on overall housing affordability. Something as simple as the new landscaping regulations that is estimated to add on $5,000 to the cost of an average single home would result in 155 households not being able to afford that home. Overall government regulation adds on average $88,000 to the cost of a new home built in the Midwest. This number includes additional costs due to building codes along with other federal, state, and local regulations. And we're concerned some of the proposed zoning code changes will make this number much higher in Eau Claire. We have a few speakers that will touch on some specifics we want to address. I just want you to let you know that we are available at any time to discuss. Everybody, I think's got Christina's email. I know that's not for tonight's program. Again, there are a lot of good things in the new code, but there are a few items that could have negative impacts on building in Eau Claire for many generations to come. Thank you.
Thanks for coming down. All right, we have Paul. Hi, welcome.
Thank you, Council President, Council members. My name is Paul Holsinger. I live at 704 Mitchell Avenue in Eau Claire. I own Holsinger Homes in Altoona, and I'm also here on behalf of the Home Builders Association. I'm here to talk, kind of piggyback on what Pat just talked about. I'm going to key in a little bit specifically on landscaping ordinance and the tree ordinance that we're considering. Again, we want to reiterate that there's a lot of good stuff in the new code. We don't want to make anybody think that there's not a lot of work being done, and we really appreciate the effort there because there are a lot of good things. So we're keen in on a few things that are concerning to us. First, I want to say that we're generally in agreement with the new minimum landscaping ordinance that you have proposed in the new zoning code. Although that does add cost to housing, we also think it's good, and we recognize as an association and as individuals that tree canopy and green space and that kind of thing is really good. So we are supporting that as a whole, as a body. I wanted to touch more on specifically the tree ordinance and the way that it's written right now. And I think we're still in the process of changing some things. So if I say something, it's because it's the way it's written right now, and maybe we've already worked on it, but I want to make sure we're saying something about it. I spent some time in Creekside subdivision specifically, and we did a tree study. My daughter's boyfriend is a forestry major, so we spent some time out there. We did a study on the trees, and we figured out that in that specific Creekside subdivision that we just approved, just went through City Council a few weeks ago, if we implement the zoning code, including red pines, which is a plantation type tree, among other species, we'd end up with some significant fees that would come up because we can't replace all of the trees on that same property. After we plant several thousand trees, and a lot of this information is in your packet, so I'm summarizing, but if you please read that, page 2, there's some important information there. The long and short of it is we'd end up with about $500,000 of fees, of tree fees, because we can't replace all the trees that are in there. Now, it doesn't take into account other areas that are in the city where we maybe develop a cornfield, and we add new trees, there's no trees to take down. So I wanted you to just understand what that impact might be. If we revise that a little bit, I think we can get around it. So I'm running out of time, so I'm going to key on a few things that I want you to really look at and consider in the CPAC. Keep the 20-inch DBH that the consultant proposed instead of reducing it to 12-inch DBH. That's a big change. Keep the canopy requirement at 30% replacement. We were talking about changing it to 60% at a point. I think we've let go of that, but I want to make sure that that's in there. Don't require more trees to be planted than what's in the landscaping ordinance. And the last one, and I'll finish up, ensure that the high-value tree list does not include plantation type trees like red pine and that kind of thing.
Great.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks for coming down, Paul. Okay, then Christina. Hi, welcome.
Hello, I'm Christina Thrun. I'm at 2832 Fifth Street, and welcome to the new city council members that I know we're joining here at the beginning and coming in at the end of the zoning code process and hearing all of our comments as well. So I do want to reiterate the tree study that Paul had done on his property is laid out in there, and if you have any other additional questions, you're welcome to reach out to him directly or to us, and we can get you some additional information on that as well. We've been working on pulling together all the information that we can to help you guys have a better understanding of how some of these proposed zoning changes would have some financial impact, and that's the packet that we put together for you guys to help you as we are looking at making some of these zoning code changes. I do want to hit on, there's two major items of discussion that were really dug into at the last ZPAC meeting, the garage frontage and the anti-monotony standards. Based on the feedback we've received in talking with our builders and developers, we think the combination of these two items together could potentially remove twin homes from the Eau Claire market. And so that's a big concern to us because the twin homes are definitely one of the most popular and most affordable homes being built right now, especially for property owners for traditional financing. On the garage frontage side, we had supported some of the narrower lots and some of the design standards that were being proposed. I know there's a lot of conversation about how do you expand that out. It could be difficult for single-family homes, but the biggest concern was really regarding the twin homes and the variety of twin homes that are on the market. In looking at those twin homes, you're having to force into, the most popular is a one one-level twin home, two-car garage. You'd be forcing to look at probably some other options that might have 2 stories or other types of formats to that twin home that truly affect their ability to really build the most popular twin home type that's being purchased right now. It's harder to sell other types of twin homes. When you talk to the builders and developers and realtors, some of those are getting harder to sell. And so looking at, the garage frontage, that's really important to take that into consideration. And then when you are limiting as to what type of twin homes can be built, that also impacts the anti-monotony standards if you want variety in a development as well. And so those two tend to conflict with each other. And then the anti-monotony standards, also when you look at twin homes in a development, looking at how they line out in the streets, a lot of times they're placed based on what makes sense for the best sense for the topography in that development. In terms of looking at families tend to want certain types of twin homes, seniors a different type, and they want to live a lot of times in similar areas. And so some of those types of things really kind of play into that. And so a lot of this information is in your packets as well. But we think that the anti-monotony standards would also be difficult to enforce. And so looking at more cosmetic changes so that you're getting away from requiring certain types of styles of home and looking more at the cosmetic changes that are a little bit easier, so you're not restricting the building type as well. So we will be at the next ZPAC meeting as well to answer any additional questions that you might have on these topics as well. Again, reach out to us if you would like to chat in more. So,
Thanks, Christina.
Thank you.
Everyone is doing a very good job following the time limits, I have to say, so good job. And then last up on the list is Julian.
Good job reading my chicken scratching.
Oh, yeah.
Many years.
I saw you sitting out there, too.
Many years as a journalist ruined whatever chance at handwriting I had. Thank you, council members, for having me. Julian Emerson, 519 Chauncey Street, Eau Claire. I'm here to talk about a different topic, and I thought you guys were maybe going to be voting on it tomorrow, but I could be wrong now, so I'm going to address it anyway, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
I'm here to advocate for you all giving $40,000 toward, and I think that's the amount you guys have requested, toward Sojourner House remaining open. I'm part of an effort to try and, they have a $400,000 deficit, as you guys probably know, to try and remain open for more than 6 months a year. I'm part of an effort to try and figure out how we come up with that funding. $300,000 of it has been come up with through a variety of sources, and then the plan is to ask City of Eau Claire, City of Altoona, and Eau Claire County to come up with the remaining $100,000. This is very much intended to be a one-time expenditure, not something that we revisit. Catholic Charities, we're in talks with Catholic Charities. They are supposed to be trying their best to come up with funding to make this sustainable, right? So this is supposed to be a one-time deal. City of Altoona was asked to give $10,000, and they upped it and went to $15,000. I believe that was at the March 27th Altoona City Council meeting. So now the remaining dollars, the City of Eau Claire and Eau Claire County are being asked to give to that. And you all, I probably don't have to tell you a lot about this. You all get it. You've all heard me talk about this topic before. But I'm advocating for this expenditure for 2 reasons. Number one is it's the right thing to do from a humanitarian standpoint. As someone who has spent countless hours out on the streets with homeless folks, I can tell you that the difference between having shelter and being out on the streets is extreme, and for some really vulnerable people, it can be the difference long-term over a 6-month period even between life and death for them. Secondly, it makes sense from a financial standpoint because I can pretty much guarantee that over a 6-month period, you all will be paying significantly more than $40,000 in increased police calls and increased hospital visits, in increased mental health blow-ups and other concerns that will be happening if we do not have an overnight shelter. So I know it's not an ideal situation. I know you guys are already giving lots of money, and I appreciate how much you guys have done for years now to address homelessness. But this seems to me like the right thing to do and also the right thing to do from a financial standpoint.
Great.
Any questions at all?
We can't do questions.
Oh, that's right.
We
Sorry.
can email you
I'm
if
breaking the
there's
rules.
questions.
I'm breaking the rules. Sorry.
That's okay.
As usual.
Appreciate
Thank
you
you
coming
guys.
down.
I appreciate you listening.
Thanks, Julian. Okay, anyone, that's the end of our list. Is there anyone in the council chambers like to speak? Your 3 minutes? Okay, well, then that is the end of our open meeting. We do have a closed session. So upon a motion, I just want to say thanks everyone for coming down too, so. But now, moving on to the closed session, upon a motion duly made and carried, the city council may go into closed session to discuss bargaining parameters and provide direction on the negotiation of a potential industrial development agreement related to the sale of land in Gateway Industrial Park and within TIF District 15, which is permitted in closed session for competitive and bargaining reasons pursuant to statute 19.851E of the Wisconsin statutes. Can I get a motion? Councilmember Johnson? Oh, I thought, okay, Councilmember Johnson, a second?
Second.
Okay, by Councilmember Otto. Were there discussions or questions?
I guess I have a question. Would it be possible to do like a 5-minute break to let this clear out and also
Yeah,
touch base with
a
the
few
people?
minute, yeah, just the transition, yeah.
Thanks.
Do you have a question, Councilmember Shaw?
Oh, no, sorry.
Oh, you're just ready to vote? Okay, all right. So, City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Berge,
Aye?
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.